Hey, hey, everyone. Of course, as soon as I hit um, stream, I get the case of the congested cough. I'm Sean. Do a few things, but every Saturday I get on here and talk about role-playing games and mostly about news, anything relative to what's going on for the past week. And I usually have folks from the chat chime in and help out with cool interactions. Hey, Wayne, Victor, there you guys are, right on time. Thanks for joining. Good to see you guys, and I'll be seeing both of you yahoos, in not too long, a couple weeks. Clarog, Ralak, Gabe Dibbing. Good to see you, man. Gabe usually kind of sits, he lies low, then only comes on and interjects when it's like when it's imperative. Good to see you guys. I could imagine everything is working. I was going to check if my audio is fine. Funny, I have like the best of luck just doing this every week. It just works. Probably because I don't change a lot of stuff like I used to. So I was thinking of the icebreaker question of the day, and I will say this: if you have an RPG that you are fond of, what place would you like to visit if you were to be put in that setting? What place would you like to visit? Could be just the whole world, or it could be like a specific place. Like I was thinking of maybe the Towers of High Sorcery in Absalom, in the Dragonlance world. That might be a place. Or Sharn in Eberron would be kind of cool. If you could visit any place in one of your RPGs setting, where would it be? And it could be a homebrew. If you got a homebrew, then it might need a little elaboration. But many of us have probably touched a published adventure in some kind, way, shape, or form. It's a tricky question. I saw Christian Serrano, my buddy, had posted on Twitter a similar question. Like, if you could visit any RPG setting, what would it be? And I thought to myself, I don't want to visit any of them because the ones that I have in mind are just, I wouldn't want to live there. Like Midnight, Symbaroum, even Star Wars to some degree, although that would be kind of cool with the Force and everything and lightsabers and laser beams. But yeah, Delta Green? No, not for me. So yeah, totally scary, right, Victor? The ones that aren't, I have to say, the ones that aren't typically scary to me are the ones that are kind of stereotypical D&D. Like, they're scary, but living in, I don't know, the Forgotten Realms along the Sword Coast in a small town or a town like Waterdeep, I don't know if that would be that big a deal. But it would be, living in what I would probably consider medieval, right, type of setting. Maybe science fiction? I don't know. But then, I don't know. Maybe cyberpunk? Maybe? I don't know. But then it's dystopic. Dystopic? I don't know if that's the way to go. Nobody? Not even one answer? Nowhere. Dystopian, yes, Harrigan. Hey, morning, buddy. If you could visit any place within a setting, an RPG setting, where would it be? It could be big continent, could be the world itself, or it could be a specific place in the world. Gabe, Middle Earth, full stop. But not Mordor. What? Maybe Mordor before it was Mordor? Like maybe before it got to be a bad neighborhood? Gabe, big Tolkien guy. Middle Earth. What part? Okay, Gabe. What part of Middle Earth? You had to choose a place because you're pretty like I wouldn't know all the places, but you are well versed. Brett Pizitsky, good to see you. No one visits Ravenloft. Yeah, right. Dystopian, yes. No, Valinor. Bam. Valinor. Yeah. And nobody else? Or the Grey Havens. Look at that. Gabe's got 2, 3, technically. But come on. Nobody? If you could visit anywhere in any RPG setting, where would it be? Helm's Deep would probably be a good tourist attraction, right? This was built for... It stands hundreds of feet in the air and took 20, whatever years it took. Merkburg. Don't run games that have settings that are fun to visit. Yeah, I know. That's what I was telling Christian. And he's like, let me rephrase it. And then he rephrased it, but it sounded like the same question to me. I think I've got some comprehension problems. Star Wars Galaxy? I mean, all kinds of places in Star Wars. Like Naboo's a nice place. You wouldn't want to be the Outer Rim. Outer Rim, I mean, the Mandalorian and Tatooine, those places just look full of suck. Like, who would want to live there, right? Unless you're a scoundrel. You're trying to escape the clutches of the overbearing oppressors. Homebrew World, Shane. Good to see you. I answer about 10 above. Oh, I'm sorry, Wayne. I'm sorry. You did say Traveler, but I thought it was just like you were saying like the game. So Wayne says Traveler. Bastionland or Troika cities would be rad. Victor says Star Wars Galaxy Far, Far Away. The Strange? Yeah. In the third Imperium, of course, Wayne. Because the second and fourth are just... Nothing really good came out of those. The third Imperium is its golden age of the Imperium. All right. I mentioned Towers of High Sorcery. What else? Star Wars would be kind of cool. And in Star Wars, I mean, pick a nice planet. If I had the drugs ultraviolet grasslands. Maybe Tales from the Loop. Right? Something like that. If you want to go back to the 80s. Then the 80s that never were. That's simple. If you had an okay childhood. Some of us did not. And they don't want to revisit those years at all. Deadlands? Weird West? Weird Frontiers? I'm looking at that huge book on my shelf. It's like crazy. What else? We could rule out what? Call Cthulhu? Feng Shui? It's like, now we're talking settings, like just overall settings, but I'm trying to get more into the nitty gritty. All right. Star Trek, yeah. Maybe it's the Starship Enterprise. It says specifically Enterprise in Star Trek 2, so I could be like, nope, Spock, you are not going in there. I'm looking at some of the RPGs on my shelf that are exposed. I would not a ton that I would want to be like getting into. All right. Suppose we can kick this off. Coruscant. Coruscant would be good if you're allowed on the upper levels, right? It gets seedier and seedier as you go down. But yeah, it would be an interesting city. Like Yavin wouldn't be bad. Some of those outside worlds, man, they're peaceful. Like they're the camping grounds of the galaxy. Just go there and just trees. You know, it all depends on what what climate you want. Like, it's not the word I'm looking for. What biosphere? I guess I don't know. All right, let's. All right. I think it's the cream in my coffee that makes me all ugh. Ugh, ugh. All right. Endor, yeah. Teddy bears running around all over the place, right? How can you not be a fan of Ewoks? Come on, Wayne. Sounds communistic. Communistic sounds like communist. Murder bears. All right, let's get this thing. So let's start doing this thing. What do we got? What do we got this week? Should we start out with some news? And of course, I didn't set my browser. It's awesome. Let me just do that. You would think, but I don't. All right. So I don't know if you knew this. Hasbro appoints new senior vice president of Dungeons and Dragons. So D&D has its own SVP. This was announced October 4th, 2022. Dan Rawson has joined Wizards of the Coast in a newly created role as Senior Vice President. So newly created. If you've worked in corporate, do you know what that means? It means somebody wanted him to join the company and created a position for him. And it should not be lost on you. Because Cynthia worked with him in the past. So if you're not familiar who Cynthia Williams is, she is the president of Wizards of the Coast and Digital Gaming. So Dan comes from Microsoft Dynamics. Exciting, you say? Of course. Because CRM systems, they're exciting. So Ray Winninger. So if you remember who Ray Winninger is, Ray was brought on as the head of D&D. Well, kind of the head of D&D, right? Well, they touted him as the head of D&D back in April of 2020, if you recall correctly. So this was kind of talking, Mike Merles was kind of overseeing D&D, and Ray came in, and Mike was put over into a different area of the company. Maybe he was working on D&D, maybe he wasn't. But Mike had been removed from kind of overseeing the product line of D&D. Nothing, couldn't have said it better, Wayne. Nothing says adventure like CRM. So for those of you not in the know, CRM is customer relationship management. It's usually a big piece of software. Microsoft Dynamics is, it's an enterprise CRM that companies buy and put their customer info into. Victor said Ray made the best RPG, Underground, for the win. So back in April, Ray was brought on. I didn't look up the official news release from when Ray was brought on. But essentially, here's what this is on the Gamer. And Ray has long time like history and roots of I think it says he worked for TSR back in the day, wrote articles for Dragon Magazine, I believe. So yeah, right here has been replaced by so Merles was replaced by Ray. If the name sounds familiar, it should. Ray sports an impressive resume, having worked for the original publishers of Dungeons & Dragons, TSR. He also wrote a regular column for Dragon Magazine and has been an executive producer for WotC since August of 2018. So Ray had been at least, and I didn't look up his LinkedIn profile. I think I follow him, maybe. But Ray has been with Wizards at least since 2018. 2020, they're like, hey, Ray, want to take over D&D? Ray's probably like, sure. So his influence have impacted many games outside of D&D, having worked for Mayfair Games and West End Games, both publishers of RPGs in the 80s and 90s. So Ray had some gaming cred, right? RPG gaming cred. Jeremy Crawford and Christopher Perkins were reporting to Ray directly at the time of this announcement, or that had been the change they were going to. So that Ray was Jeremy's and Chris Perkins' new boss. Yeah. Harrigan says, yeah, after not paying attention to D&D for decades, I was shocked to see his name attached. So fast forward, Cynthia joins the company, Cynthia Williams, and I thought she joined as an SVP originally. I think that's what happened. And it might have been, I should really get this laid out. I should have done a little bit more research, because I think Cynthia was brought on, Cynthia Williams, as an SVP of digital, right? And she had roots back to Microsoft, no question about it. And so if that had happened before Hasbro bringing in Wizards in-house under the Hasbro company, because if you don't remember, Wizards of the Coast was a subsidiary sitting on their own island doing what they're doing. And, unlike what everybody out there assumed at the time, Wizards didn't report to Hasbro. I think that was a misnomer for a long time. Oh, it's because of Hasbro. It's because of Hasbro. I have it on good insight from somebody that works there for quite some time that they called their own shots. Wizards did. Well, now that's over. Wizards is now part officially of Hasbro. And everybody should know that. And Hasbro is a publicly traded company, so they can release all the numbers of D&D's selling and year-over-year growth and quarterly earnings and things of that nature. So, in which we covered a couple times. As a matter of fact, this news comes on top of kind of their earnings call for, I think, Q3, right? So, Cynthia had worked with Mr. Rawson, said, hey, could use you over here. I'll let you head up D&D. You'll be the SVP of D&D. I've done a little I've been in the people business a little bit. I've worked with some execs. I haven't worked with a ton out in the Washington area. I could say that it's probably, with Microsoft being the mothership out there in Washington, Microsoft pays well. I could probably tell you that because I know people who have worked there. I know people that are currently working there. And so to have Dan join from Microsoft, and formerly COO of Dynamics, mind you, so a C-level position within the Dynamics product line, People don't leave this job to go to a crappier job, is what I'm saying. So read into it all that you want. I read into it in a particular way, given where I've been. I think so. Prior to Microsoft, it says Rawson lived in Seoul, Korea, Bangalore, India, where he held leadership positions for Coupang, I believe it's pronounced, and Flipkart, respectively. And at those companies, he held diverse general management responsibilities, including marketplace development, customer logistics, and experience in product marketing and operations management. Both instances, he helped make those companies the leading e-commerce companies in their country. He's an Amazon veteran, a U.S. Marine veteran, and received a BA from Harvard and an MBA from Northwestern. The education, always a good check mark. He did, I think, issue just a brief, like, hey, I'm proud to be part of the team, and a game that I grew up loving and appreciating. I don't know how much of a gamer Dan is, which I think sometimes will make people in the industry. I don't know if that's a big enough deal with the younger crowd as much. I know with the older crowd, they may say, hey, he doesn't have any gaming cred, right? But I don't know that. We don't know that for sure. He could be running a long-term D&D game for years. But hey, Lucas, good to see you. Lucas, favorite place you'd like to visit in one of your favorite RPG settings? That's the question. So it's an interesting hire because he comes from the CRM world. So that's not to say that people can't cross over and do really good jobs in areas that are different, like in a different industry. Eberron, City of Sharn. Good one. And frankly, when you get to those levels at the C level, it's not, it's a different type of role, right? They're not more strategy, roadmaps, what is the products, how are the products performing? One of the things Steve Jobs did when he came back to Apple, and it was floundering, just like being run directly into the ground on the verge of bankruptcy, was they had too many products and they axed them, which is interesting because TSR's issues at the end where they weren't able to pay their printers and they had too many products that weren't making any money and they didn't even know what the profit margin was. So, Rollock says, I'd say keep them away from development, managing the big picture stuff. Right, for sure. So she's bringing him on because she's it's a trust level at that point. She knows what he's capable of doing and what he has done in his past, and even at Microsoft. I don't know if he reported to her at Microsoft, or if they were peers. So it's just, yeah. So, but with his background in the digital space, and so is Cynthia's, right? Like she came from Microsoft Digital, I believe. And even one of the other guys I think that was hired was like Xbox side of things. So we got to maybe revisit and where that goes. Now, what's Ray's role? So when these things shake up, when you have a role, and let's say, for example, you have a position in a company. Now, this is newly created. So Ray would have had to been brought into in the office. Cynthia probably called him in and said, okay, hey, this is what we're going to do. Just a heads up. Really appreciate what you're doing. Keep up the good work. Need you in the trenches, managing all the day-to-day things that have to do with D&D and the team with Jeremy and Chris and freelancers and all this stuff. But we're going to bring in an SVP of D&D because we're going to be venturing hugely into D&D Beyond, and we're going to expand it into one D&D. Like all this has probably been laid out internally. Chris Lindsay and everybody on the D&D team are probably like, there's a org structure, right? And Ray was probably brought in and definitely knows what that looks like. I don't know if the SVP position had been thought out at one point, but they're probably like, We need this person because this person is going to lead us into that digital space, bring all the teams, unify the armies, and make one D&D. It keeps marking you guys for scum. So that's what you can kind of glean from some of this. But having said that, if it were like say it was like a SVP position that hadn't been created and it was there and it was vacated, maybe they terminated somebody, the person resigned, whatever the case is, and they were departing. Typically, you look at the internal succession plan of the organization and say, well, do we have anybody on the succession plan that would move up into that position? Have we been kind of, not training them? Yeah, I suppose. Sometimes people call it grooming. It's kind of got a negative connotation nowadays, obviously, for obvious reasons. But do we have somebody aligned to take over that succession plan? And I know it's getting into corporate speak, but, this is the D&Ds, right? But and then what happens is if you're not on that succession plan, do you know? Maybe not. And then they promote somebody into that position. And yay, great. They stay with the company. They're happy because they're moving up. But when people internally apply to those positions that have certain tenure and been with the company, and that's what their aspirations are, is become that C-level position, and they're denied, then they have two options. They can kind of suck it up and go another 4 years and hope that that person comes in, makes the changes, and then leaves, which is not wholly unlikely at the C level. Or they just keep trucking away and they're fine with the ceiling that they hit in the company. Most of the times, if they've got aspirations to get to that level, they leave the company. I don't know if Ray would do that, honestly. I don't know Ray, but just speculation wise, right? He may just be very, very comfortable managing the D&D space that he is in currently. So we'll see. Morning, Lucas and Roger. Custom entry this morning would be your favorite place to visit in one of your RPG settings, or one of the places you would like to visit in one of your RPG settings. We have had Sharn, City of Sharn, Towers of High Sorcery and Dragonlance, Middle Earth, specifically Valinor, the World of Traveler. I think Victor said Star Wars, maybe some planet in this galaxy far, far away. So anyways, just an interesting hire because there's a few things to read into it. One, it was newly created. Two, he comes from Microsoft COO of Dynamics, which is a CRM platform, which is not overly exciting. It's not like video games or something. But he has other experience as well, right? We shouldn't just pigeonhole him into the Microsoft space. And how it correlates with the vision of what Wizards is trying to do and Hasbro's trying to do with the D&D platform. Solace and Dragonlance's Kryn. There's Joe. Hey, Joe. Yeah, there's a good one. So there's that. I don't know what your thoughts are. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you don't care. That's okay. See, there's Ray. So he's still executive producer. He's been with Wizards for 4 years. And before that, he was at Amazon. All roads lead through Amazon. Right? Dan worked at Amazon once. They give good titles. Get a good title, you can move on to the next big title. And at the same time, in the grand announcement of things, they mentioned that they want to grow the profit 50% over the next 3 years. So if you're a stockholder of Hasbro, growing the profit 3 times over the next 5 years, 3 years, 50% over the next 3 years. Strategic investments to fuel the blueprint will be a major investment focus for the company. Direct to consumer and digital. Anchored by Hasbro Pulse and D&D Beyond, poised to become a $1 billion digital and e-commerce direct business with over 50 million accounts by 2027. 50 million accounts, 2027. Up from 20 million. Yeah, more than double. They want to more than double that by 2027. And will host new exclusives, including the recently launched Hasbro Selfie series. Hasbro Selfie series. I think that's like you get your picture or your mug on, like I know Marvel's that they've got the license to do it on Marvel figs, and then they're gonna have it do it on D&D figs. So people are like, weird, right? I want my picture on a fighter. I want my head on a fighter. Does Watsy Profit even make a rounding error for Hasbro? Yeah. HasLab crowdfunded products, the return of the iconic sports collectible starting lineup, and the relaunch of Avalon Hill's HeroScape gaming system. So yeah, they don't even need to, they could do their own Kickstarter, right? Don't they have that platform they did for one of their games? It escapes me. Was it HeroScape? I don't know. Licensing is set for a major expansion with new and recent partnerships announced with Basic Fun on Littlest Pet Shop and Lego on Transformers, and an expanded portfolio of content across Hasbro's beloved 100-year IP vault. Yeah, because they bought Parker Brothers and all those other ones. Remember Parker Brothers? Milton Bradley? Entertainment investments are set to more than double for Hasbro IP across the company's iconic portfolio, leading toy and game brands. The company announced Peppa Pig, Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, Transformers, Play-Doh, Nerf, and iconic gaming brands like Monopoly and Clue as key focus brands. Company is investing in a brand insights platform to enable data-based decisions, deliver superior consumer insights, and speed innovation. The platform combines all new technology capabilities, a significant upgrading of its data and analytics team, and a network of digital, direct, experimental, and partner-based data feeds. It's a lot of business intelligence work. This is a multi-year $100+ million investment that will serve as a major competitive differentiator and empower the company to create the toys, games, and experiences fans want. Yeah. So this is what happens when you innovate, right? This is like moving things along. Blockbuster is what happens when you don't innovate. They are making huge investments, and they're going to be able to track a lot of stuff. And with that, they'll be able to make intelligent business decisions based on everything that is happening or not happening in their company. Unlocking brand value to drive innovation and growth. D&D will be a major growth priority with a blockbuster feature film, D&D Honor Among Thieves, a new AAA video game, Baldur's Gate 3, and a host of new collectibles, toys, and games paired with the movie event in 2023. Yeah, let's do some licensed product. Who do we need to license it from? Oh, ourselves. Hey-o. Company's action figure portfolio is on pace for a banner year in 2023 behind 6 blockbuster theatrical releases, including Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Sony's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and Lucasfilm's Indiana Jones. Company expanded on its major new lineup for Transformers, including a new animated kids show, Transformers Earthspark, a new blockbuster film coming in June 2023, Transformers Rise of the Beasts, and an upcoming CGI feature film in summer 2024. Diversification, brand recognition, media, and digital. These guys, whew. Peppa Pig, Play-Doh, and key collaborators including Marvel Spidey and His Amazing Friends, and Lucasfilm's Star Wars Young Jedi Adventure will anchor planned preschool growth, a $1 billion plus combined growth opportunity. Nerf. Oof, 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 oof. They're like putting out the 2027 financial targets. You good finance stuff, guys. I'm sure that's just what you wanted to tune into today. The company updated its 2022 guidance to include revenue flat to slightly down in constant currency, 16% adjusted operating profit margin, expected Q3 revenue decline of approximately 15% as reported, and approximately 12% at constant currency. Blah, 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 blah. So not completely an earnings call, but nonetheless. And the downtrends, it's, yeah, that's not a surprise. So as Hasbro continues to invest and grow its $2 billion gaming business, the company intends to continue to disclose revenue for the full gaming portfolio and will add operating profit. The company also intends to begin reporting revenue associated with any brand that is $1 billion or greater, beginning with Magic the Gathering, which is on track to become its first $1 billion brand. Oos, if you could visit any place in any RPG setting, where would it be? That's your question. For good to see you, by the way. So there you go. You can check it out on their investors page. Wayne, Hasbro was making 46 cents for every dollar in sales that Wizards achieved. By comparison, its consumer products division, toy and games, had an operating profit of $308 million with an 8% margin. Wayne's been doing some research. So yeah, we wish Dan all the best of luck in his new role. And then it was the first investor day under the leadership of CEO Chris Cox. Chris's first call, at least as the CEO. There you go. Good stuff. Big stuff. Big stuff's afoot at the Circle K. Let's get into some new stuff. I saw this. Probably going to be on the Kickstarter stuff. Secret World 2022 Kickstarter, $86,000 of $40,000 goal. There's flashing audio with this. Nothing narrative. But I don't know, the Secret World. Apparently this is a video game, I guess. I do not play the video game. Just checking it out. It's got 26 days to go as of this recording. It is 5e based. An age is ending, all the myths are true. Gaia calls upon heroes to defend her against cosmic horrors. Can you discover the truth behind the secret world? It's based on a unique setting created in the MMO of the same name. Urban horror, ancient conspiracies, and secret societies, the perfect fodder for amazing stories to be told and games to be played, which is true. That's kind of what kind of piqued my curiosity. Piqued my curiosity, but I don't know. I probably will pass, but I'm sure it's going to be a great game. I like the theme, kind of. Illuminati, Templar, or Dragon. See, I don't know. I'd have to get into the let's play modern, but we'll put dragons and stuff in there, magic. But then, I don't know. It's just me. I got hang-ups. Just want to say. Paizo, pre-order bonus for Abomination Vaults 5th edition. So, apparently this is one of their big adventure paths. I have not been wholly plugged into Paizo. But apparently there's a mega dungeon and you can also receive, if you pre-order this, the Kingmaker Bestiary 5e PDF. I talked about a couple weeks ago about the Kingmaker one, which is not coming out. It's only the Bestiary for 5e. But interesting that Paizo is choosing to do 5th edition, right? Is it timing? It must be the right time. I'm starting to see a theme with Paizo. We're going to do some 3-5 adventure paths. Oh, 4th edition's released. We're going to do our own 3-7-5 D&D. Oh, 5th edition being sunset. We're going to do 5th edition adventures. They do good work. No question about it, right? But it's just interesting. And this was originally, obviously, for their Pathfinder game, but doing a port. Trying to get some of that 5e money. Let's see. What else do we got here? Lego. New challenge, 50 years of D&D. Join us in celebrating 50 years of D&D. To celebrate those 50 adventure-filled years, we invite you to ignite your imagination and showcase your favorite aspects of the D&D game using Lego bricks, elements, and pieces. Submission invitation runs a bit differently than typical Lego product idea submission, so please pay attention to the fine print. So you can submit your own idea for what a D&D Lego set would look like, I guess. We're talking detailed display model of your favorite character or monster, functional display models for players / dungeon masters, ultimate build with customizable elements, all rooted in the D&D world. Monty Cook had an interesting thread on this. I'm going to see, I don't know if you guys saw this. Just read it last night. I should have bookmarked it. I empathized with Monty, actually. See if I can find it. Here we go. I didn't think it was that long ago. But he just, so, okay. That was really loud. Okay. So Lego ideas. If you have any Lego ideas, send it. Based on those details, I don't know if I would have a good suggestion. I think the red box, a mock-up of the red box would be cool. Huge red dragon. Those little dudes about to get their ass kicked. It's iconic. I think a lot of us grognards and even some old younger folks might appreciate it. The red dragon's always... They got the head of the red dragon on one of those placards that, who is it? Gale Force 9 did or somebody. You got the miniatures. WizKids have done them. So yeah, the deadline on this, the fan vote phase, wow, for this promotion, which runs from November 28th, 2022, heyo, November 28th, to December 12th, 2022. It's not even open yet. Is intended to help the judges gauge fan interest in specific designs and validate fan excitement for the theme. What if you win? The winning fan will be compensated as a product idea prize winner as outlined in the product idea guidelines in terms of service. Whoa! 1% of the total net sales of the LEGO Ideas D&D product, 10 complimentary copies of your LEGO Ideas D&D set, credit in bio and set materials of the LEGO Ideas Dungeons & Dragons fan designer, and a prize package of D&D goodies. Got some money involved in this. That's good, right? It's better than me saying, hey, you guys, submit all your ideas for this, or submit all, like, hey, let's all make up an encounter, and then Sean takes it, puts it in a book, and then publishes it and says thanks. Gives you credit, but nothing else. So, yeah, get some money, man. 1% of the total net sales. That may not be bad if you get a lot of people buying that stuff. Yeah, I did see. Yes, it's Victor. I'm gonna get to that. So, I don't know. Victor probably beat me to that comment. So this is Monty, and this is an interesting insight into Monty, and I've been through this before. So it looks like D&D Lego is going to be a thing, which is fantastic. He writes, but here's my story, showcasing how times have changed. In the mid-90s, I was using Lego figures and bricks in my games, and I wanted to run an official Gen Con seminar on doing so. At TSR, we were required to run a lot of hours of Gen Con programming, and I always tried to make mine as fun for me as possible. I wanted to even get Lego sponsorship, and so spent a lot of time on the phone with Lego Corporate working my way through their org chart until I got to someone that could make a decision. Really what I wanted was a bunch of basic Lego parts and stuff so that my seminar could actually be a hands-on workshop and attendees could walk out with stuff they'd built. Eventually, I spoke to a very nice lady who both knew what I was talking about and had the ability to say yes or no. She informed me in a very nice, polite way that Lego would never be associated with a brand like D&D because of its links with the occult and all the other satanic panic nonsense. So the answer was a hard no, and I felt so dejected as a huge fan of both Lego and D&D that I canceled the seminar. So now apparently Lego is all in on the association. I wonder if that nice lady still works there and what she thinks about it, and if she remembers the phone conversation. Anyway, I feel very melancholy about the whole thing, but I'm looking forward to the results and happy the weirdo misconceptions of the past are fading. Lego was probably a lot different company back then. For sure. Like, I don't even think they were doing, I mean, Monty was with Wizards of the Coast 20 years ago, right? I'm trying to put things like in order. Because I remember being at the 30th anniversary for D&D at Gen Con. Lego is not part of Hasbro. Hey, Sean. Hey, Swiefer. Sean Swiefer, favorite place you could visit in your RPG setting? That's the question. So I get it. But here's the deal, right? Lego was a different company back then. They were on the verge of falling apart until they realized they could license some products and take everybody else's ideas and make their Legos out of it. Big bam boom explosion. Yeah, is Lego publicly traded? I think is the question. I don't think they are. Privately held company in Billund, Denmark. Yeah, Billund. As of 2021, Lego is the largest toy company in the world. they were sucking high wind back in the day. Sucking. Like, we grew out of it. The history of Lego would be an interesting one, but they are killing it since they could do their own or do their licenses. And then, of course, once they could get the licenses going, and then people want it, like kids could go, oh, I could build, Harry Potter crap, Mario crap, Star Wars stuff. Like, it's just crazy. Yeah, investors, old Kirk Christensen. I don't know if he's the part of the family or not, but yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, and those, like the generic sets weren't, I don't think, doing anything. But now that you can build whatever, favorite thing, I'm going to bet that their licensed stuff still makes more. I don't know, because the margins are probably different, right? They probably make less on the licensed stuff unless they pad the prices for it. I doubt they do. So if you buy the castle that's Lego and not affiliated with any IP or license, they may make more. But then again, you buy a Star Wars, like the big ship from the Mandalorian, that's going to be one of their biggest Star Wars kits. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the licensed stuff way outsells everything else. Yeah, so they're a beast now. So now the biggest toy company in the world is partnering with Hasbro for their D&D stuff. Like, isn't that uninteresting? Interesting bedfellows, if you will. The thing is, they're niche, man. They are they are, somebody might even consider them a monopoly. I don't know. In the process of selling 150,000 piece collection, and the market craves the licensed goods. Yeah, Lego used to be about creativity like RPGs. Now it's IP hell. Yeah. Do you ever remember getting the knockoff Legos? Like, you could never pull those things apart. Just like, I remember those weird sets that were just a little bit different than Legos. Like, they were maybe the big blocks or something. And man, if you got those things together, there's some you could not get apart. The mega blocks, maybe that's what it was, Harrigan. Yeah, I don't know, man. Anyways, so it was interesting to see Mannys insight to that. But it's what I reap from this is Manny looking back and being very, very, very excited and thinking this would be the greatest thing. And I remember having that weird exchange with like Paizo and, having their Pathfinder Facebook group and just going, here, have it, take it. And they were just like, okay, it was just a strange kind of letdown, I think. And then it's probably plagued them for the last 20 years. Like, hey, I was going to do this, and now it's good, though. Now it's good, right? Now it's good. Because you're going to be making a butt ton of money off of it. Okay, I see how it is. Welcome, Manny. To how the corporate machine works, buddy. Yeah, so there you go. What else we got? Let's see. So let's see. We've got this thing I wanted to maybe bring up. Maybe. I don't know. Some VR stuff. AR. Be the first to get your hands on the next evolution in gaming and try Catan in early 2023. Tilt 5. You guys seen this? Tilt 5. Got a little wand and goggles. AR looks cool. I think AR looks better than VR. Right? Let's slowly get into the AR realm first. it's not so jostling. Like I could still see things. Like I think this is where me personally, this is where I would prefer. So 3D hologram stuff, right? Imagine like all your board games being 3-dimensional. There's a board, goggles, the wand. I mean, how cool are those freaking glasses, man? I want a set of those without them being VR or AR. I'm going to replace these with those things. PC or Android. I don't know. Maybe some of us role-playing gamers, maybe we kind of shirk it. I don't know. But building dungeons might be kind of cool and quick. I don't know if I would. I don't know. Boy, there are going to be some folks that fight this stuff tooth and nail. Give me my damn pen, paper, and dice. I thought it looked cool. I don't know how it came up on my radar. There's a demo. Like, as long as it's fully baked, I mean, some of these guys have like, hey, we're doing a Kickstarter, like the one Joe Manganiello was involved with. We should have bookmarked that and tracked that as the progress did or didn't. Like, okay, it's a Kickstarter, put in $1 and just see and get the updates on how it's progressing. And because what's going to happen is if they don't push it out fast enough, they're going to get lapsed, right? People are going to jump over them. Whoop. And then their shit's old before it's even out. Nolan Bushnell, founder of Atari, confident this will be the next big thing in AR and gaming. If you're not familiar with Nolan Bushnell, founder of Atari, granddaddy of all home video games, consoles. So 1-pack's $359, 2-pack $659, 3-pack $959. Question is how long is it going to be good for, like scalability and what's their library like? I don't know, man. It's interesting. Interesting. I would love, these guys gotta be at like, they need a touring force. They need to be at like PAX, which they probably are, PAX and Gen Con and, you know, Spiel. Would you play AR, augmented reality, D&D, or insert RPG, right? Where you could put, you know, your table. This is the thing, if you have to be, as a game master, typically somebody that's going to be into that stuff, right? Like you gotta be $300. That's if you're probably using it for more than just one game. I would hope. Like you got to be a pretty diehard board gamer. Thing is if you get a board, like if you get this system, do you have to pay for the games in addition to that? Maybe. Yeah, you got to be. We are, right. Game masters are usually the pusher. Right? You're right, Victor. So would you do it money no object, and you are into Dwarven Forge, right? You get this. You get the could get the mat, the wand, and the goggles. That's what you need. The mat is like the reflective surface, right? That's, I don't know how it projects and with the, I don't know anything about that stuff. But if you do Dwarven Forge, is this the next thing? I'm just for the glasses. Hey man, just how much for the plastic glasses? I want to get my custom lenses. Maybe take out that black bar. Hell yeah, man, I'll be looking like Kanye West. You know, taking your miniatures, you can't pick them up. You gotta use the wand, right? Like, and then move them. Like virtual reality, you'd probably get down into the dungeon yourself. So here's the deal, right? Here's the dynamics with this type of play. So Dwarven, like, okay, so how do we like to play? Hey man, theater of the mind, pen, paper, dice. I'm just gonna explain everything. Screw the virtual tabletops, right? Screw Foundry, Owlbear, Roll20. Don't want to deal with those. Too complex. Roll at the table, face to face. Or you could do it video and then, right? Teleconference, whatever, video conference. Get out of here, Augie. And you say, I don't want any of that technology involved. I just want to be able to communicate. And if that's like Zoom to communicate video and audio, great. But that's kind of where I'm good with. Everything else is books, paper, right? Then there's some of us that like to put in, is he scratching and crawling my leg? Dude, you got food. Then there is the miniatures, right? And the flat mat. Get the flat table mat, draw it out, put the miniatures down, done. Not three-dimensional. I got to give this guy some food. He's driving me crazy. So I'm going to be right back. You can see me just giving him food behind me. Come here, Og. Come here. Come here. Buggy. One. It's the Augie cam. There he goes. That guy. Monster. Still going to have all the complexity. Yeah. Well, that's the difference too, right? So as long as you're not doing something in like VR or there's a rules engine built into these formats, it's always going to be complexity. But even virtual tabletops can remove a lot of that. I mean, we're playing Forbidden Lands. Maybe we push a button, and depending on the results, it'll do a lot of the stuff that's, you know, adding a point here and taking a point from there. There's no forgetting. So we talk to mats. Then we talk about like some type of terrain. Maybe we're using Legos or maybe using foam. It may just be, you know, there's some terrain that you can just like, they're that high. Like you just put them out there like as borders. So instead of drawing them, you're placing these little 3-dimensional things. Or you get into Dwarven Forge and the flooring and the walls and the doors and the big diorama, right? And then you've got the miniatures that go on that. That's a lot of money and it's a lot of time. So your player characters better be going in that damn dungeon. And so then where do you go from there? So if you combine the terrain with the virtual tabletop, then you get into VR. And with VR, you don't even have to be standing up here looking down on the table in the dungeon necessarily. And then you got AR. Maybe that's the happy medium. That's like, hey, oh, medium. It'll be interesting. I don't think it'll take off within our space. RPG space too small. Unless Wizards decides to do it as part of D&D Beyond, as an evolution. To think that D&D Beyond is not going to evolve into AR or VR sometime down the road, we'd be fooling ourselves. Unless they completely drop the ball. Unless they have visionaries that don't see that down the road. Or they sell it or spin it off or something ridiculous. But it's got to eventually get there. Assuming D&D skyrockets still. We don't know. Could tank. But millennials, man, they're more than us. Xers. A lot of you are Xers. There's a lot of millennials that haven't played D&D. You just stepped in the dungeon and wham, the door closes and locks behind you. How do you travel down the hallway? All right, let's get into something else. What else? What else do I got on here? Looks awesome for minis, wargaming. Don't need it for RPGs. And agree that AR is superior to VR at this stage, making the same decision on tech for our engineers and construction guys. Yeah, and there's also that adoption piece, right? So what is a good example of where it took off in the consumer market and then it traveled into the enterprise or vice versa? Office? Windows? Excel, right? Maybe the personal computer, maybe. Don't think you can do remotely with Tilt 5. I think you got to be at the table. Like that's the point. I don't think you can. Yeah, I don't think it's set up like that. We've been looking at AR as well for engineering of steel production equipment. Interesting, right? Like once something is invested in, either on the consumer side or the enterprise side, and the enterprise side is going to be expensive usually, right? But they have the money. So they invest into this platform, they kick it off, it lowers the cost of the goods sold overall because now they can make it in higher quantities, and then they port that to the consumer market. And then we could take advantage of it, right? And then it drives the cost even lower. I don't know. Computer workstations, right? Silicon graphics. Anybody remember those? Microsoft does have the HoloLens. Pretty good. Yeah, and I know a couple guys that develop for it. But I don't know anybody that owns them. It's like this weird, we're not sure. Alrighty then. Continuing on. The gaming shelf enters its era of silence. You hear that? This isn't what I want. Is it? I think it's just in general. The first game from Shrike Tabletop is tactical Antifa punk post-climate disaster role-playing game. Oh, I see. It's not the era of silence. Era of silence is it's a game, not an actual era of silence. There you go. Era of Silence core rulebook. Here, congratulations, you get some press. As opposed to, hey, your gaming shelf is done, which is what I probably interpreted that headline as. Hey, they got me. Congratulations, Gizmodo, you got me. I don't know anything about this thing. Era of Silence came from late night conversation between, it said Val, email response in IO9. I had been looking for a home for my passion project setting, Vian. Dan had been looking for a place to field ideas of a core dice mechanic, which he later call Thorn. So they merged their setting with the mechanics. Interesting. Okay. Rules light cinematic RPG that focuses on factions and loyalty. A very cool new RPG. Then there's one more multiverse. Teamed up with John Harper, Blades in the Dark. Virtual tabletop setting. Oh. Their VTT, ladies and gents. Got a demo for the gameplay interface, and it's genuinely impressive and innovative way to get the heist-based TTRPG of Rogues and Rascals onto an interactive, immersive environment. From the digital tools that allow for an easy-to-understand rulebook experience to the cute little pick crew / character maker OMM, or One More Multiverse, has worked incredibly hard to deliver something that feels like an MMORPG that your table controls. Ugh, come on. I haven't even moved. So that's interesting. One More Multiverse. So let's look at these guys, should we? Blades X OMM is a role-playing it's a mouthful. Is a role-playing game about fighting to the top of a cult criminal underworld, navigating warring factions, fight on top of a train, punch a ghost, the first ever OMM RPG. Harper, he's working on a TV show, right? Right? Is that happening? Harper's going to be like that George R. Martin guy, right? Pick your poison, design a scoundrel, bring them to life. That is a dangerous and intimidating fighter. Oh, my cursor changed. Look at that. Look at that. Cutter. Deadly sharpshooter. Ooh, look at that. That's like almost 8-bit, man. Oh, boy. Try our demo, explore in-game levels, and see what OMM is all about. Take our 5-minute tour of Duskfall if you dare. So let's give them credit, right? They have a technology, and they need some IP. They could do their own, but fortune favors the bold. Let's get rich. Start your crew. Pre-order. Only one person in your crew needs to buy the game. Learn to play in 20 minutes with unprecedented automation. We're building One More Multiverse RPGs alongside our community. Our Discord runs dozens of games every week. Play demo. Ooh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. Where am I? What am I doing? Is it loaded? I don't know what's going on. Oh, still coming. Whoa. Oh, inspect items by clicking them. Some have lore and clues. E to pick up, X to drop. Okay. Okay. Great. WASD to walk around to different areas. Click and drag to pan and look around. Use Control Scroll to zoom in and out. When you see this icon, hover over it. Your mouse reveal hidden dialogue. Oh, okay. That. Oh. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I don't know about this. Yeah, what do you guys want me to do? Go this way, that way. Oh, here we go. Can you guys even see this? Can I zoom? Oh, that's not there. I don't want to do that. Here, maybe here. There we go. How is the warden already here? They must have taken off before the body even hit the ground. Those wardens make me damn uneasy. Okay, okay, all right. Whoop. Hey, buddy. Oh, NPC scoundrel. Over to the bar? I don't know. What do you guys think about this thing? Oh, keep your wits about you, lad. There are men that don't heed mortal laws on the path ahead. Should we just keep going? Skip all this? Do. Look at all these guys with little clouds I can talk to them about stuff. Oh, man. Just, it's a scrolling game. Look at this. Murder hobo, everybody. Look at this. I'm just keeping going. Where's the end? I'm speed running. I'm speed running. There is music going on. I can hear it from my headphones. Look at this thing. Oh, I'm at the end. Look at that. This is just the beginning. A greater destiny awaits you in Duskfall. Will you join us? Sure, yes. It's probably the end of the demo. It's probably where I'm at. It's a little Legend of Zelda, right? Can't get around the desk. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. This is exactly how Sean plays actual TTRPGs. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's go. Forward. Okay, Rast. Forward. Roll. Sleep. Camp. Make camp. Okay, let's go. Okay, well, interesting, right? There you go. Multiverse Blades. So, yeah, I don't know. Not necessarily my jam, but that's okay. Killer Ratings, one-shot horror comedy made by Ken Lowry. I'm just kind of going through these guys' website. Gizmodo. Killer Rating, one-shot, zero prep, rules light tabletop role-playing game for 3 to 5 players and a director. Perfect vehicle for long-time groups and first-time players like to get loud and tacky with each other. Creating high-concept characters who are compelling to watch and hilarious to kill off. Cloud Express, in the land of 10,000 cicadas. Mothership. For use with Mothership. Interesting. Cloud Express, ecological science fantasy setting for the science horror tabletop game Mothership. Cloud Express, in the land of 10,000 cicadas, will be produced full color zine and PDF. Currently in development. Crowdfunding the Zone RPG, Code Warriors, Koriko, 3 minutes. Zone is a tabletop RPG for 1 to 6 players about lost souls on a surreal play-to-lose journey to the center of an alien place that manifests their phobias and obsessions until everyone mutates and only one survives. Inspired by Annihilation, Stalker, Roadside Picnic, and SCP Foundation. None of which Sean is familiar with. Code Warriors. Upgrade your code. Avoid deletion. Survive the collapse. Rebuild your world. And it does say Tron. I was going to say, sounds like Tron. It's a tabletop RPG where you portray a program living inside a computer world. The computer's crashing. It's the apocalypse. Think Tron meets Mad Max. Tron meets Mad Max. The host of another sci-fi and apocalyptic inspirations thrown in. Stories you will tell center on survival, teamwork, and the unknown, power, and control. Rebuilding the world. Koriko is designed for contemplative solo play. Bubbling cauldron of simple rules and writing prompts stirred together to produce the story of a teenage witch spending a year away from home in an unfamiliar city. Koriko. You'll use this book, a deck of tarot cards, and a teetering tower of dice to explore the city. There you go. 3 minutes. Tabletop role-playing game from Cave of Monsters Games. Henshin, a Sentine RPG, writer Kanchu, with art by Alejandro Bruzis. that pays homage to Ultraman, Mirrorman, and other shows in the vein. The game has players create a host and their guardian, whose mission is to hunt down and fight aliens called EIGAI. Flow of the game has players traveling to different locations as part of a monster defense patrol using the unique backgrounds. I gotta kick off that Blades in the Dark. It's too loud. Using their unique backgrounds and special abilities, Guardian forms to defend Earth against any attacks. Oh, wait a minute. When is this? Let me see the date of this thing. Tuesday. It just says Tuesday. I hope it's this past Tuesday because there's something in here. Wow, this may be more news I didn't even realize. Kickstarter's new CEO spoke to Dicebreaker about crypto, blockchain, and its effect on the indie TTRPG industry. Asmodee launched two of its biggest fall releases, Star Wars The Clone Wars, a pandemic system game, and Catan, Dawn of Humankind. D&D has released the new starter set, Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. And then Dan Rawson has joined. So this is all up-to-date news. There also is a second edition of Rogue One-inspired TTRPG, Going Rogue, from the author I Have the High Ground is out now. What? I must look at that. And then Free League, who published the One Ring RPG, has put up D&D Middle-earth supplement, The Lord of the Rings role-playing 5e for pre-order. Getting in on that game, Gabe? The Lord of the Rings role-playing 5e. Third Floor Wars did a great interview with the creator of The Zone. Sounds awesome. The interview with designer Code Warrior sounded really cool. The interview was on RPG Podcast. Let's see, let me close some of these windows, ladies and gents. Nope, says Gabe. Gabe's probably like up to his ears in Tolkien and probably doesn't need 5e is my guess. Going Rogue, what is this? A GM-less anti-fascist RPG? Oh. Not pro-fascist. That's good. By Jess Levine about war, rebellion, and making the ultimate sacrifice. $8. In a word, intense. From the moves to the setting elements to the playbooks, all the pieces of the game were constantly ratcheting up the tension, moving us into desperate action and hard choices, exactly the vibe you want from a galactic spy game. At the same time, the addition of the Bond in 2E added this beautifully human element where we never forget the person we were fighting alongside. Jeff Stormer of the Party of One Actual Play Podcast. I would be willing to take a look at this thing because I am a big fan of Rogue One. I think it's one of the best Star Wars movies out there. My opinion. If you do not agree, that's okay. I'm going to buy this. In Going Rogue 2E, players step into the rebellion being waged by the Liberation. Yeah, that damn IP. We will call it the Empire. To free the galaxy of the Mandate. They inhabit one of 5 playbooks that completely replace those offered in the base game, each inspired by a member of one of Rogue One's main cast. The Spy, the Leveraged, the Knight Errant, the Convert, and the Loyal. Andor, I like Andor. I'm actually probably going to watch that tomorrow. I'm going to get up to speed. I think I've watched the first 4 episodes. I like it. Solo is Gabe's favorite. Solo is your second favorite. Got it. In fact, Solo is my second favorite. Agreed on Rogue One. Yes, Gabe agrees with me. Thanks, Gabe. Yeah, Andor is, I'm liking it. Yeah, I like how it's shaping up. I don't know why. I think The Mandalorian was good, but something was missing. It was very I mean, it was each episode kind of, okay, plop them down, and then they have to face this thing, and then they move to another, biosphere, and then something happens. I think it was okay. I don't know. Maybe it's just my preference on Andor and the premise of what it is. And I like how they're bringing the story to what it is. Like, The Mandalorian's good, don't get me wrong, but there's still something like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't articulate it. 100 Star Wars movie. Tie. I think you do realize, like, hey, never mind. Insert Serenity Fillion meme here. I like it, Sean. I think it's one of my personal favorite series, although I didn't see all the Clone Wars, which is animated. I wouldn't lump it in with that. Like I said, you guys know this. Maybe some of you don't, but I am on the grittier side of RPGs, and grittier is probably not even the right word. I like the Age of Rebellion was the last Star Wars FFG role-playing game that I bought. I bought Edge of Empire and Force and Destiny first. The Age of Rebellion did not appeal to me. Now, I don't know. I might rethink that. And it may not even be Age of Rebellion as much as it's Edge of the Empire in between, right? Edge of the Empire to Age of Rebellion. Because it's the counterinsurgent piece without the formal organization that comes with the Age of Rebellion. Like when Age of Rebellion, it just strikes me as you're joining the army and then you do things. With like Andor, Rogue One, it's really kind of as the rebellion is starting to take shape and be a formal thing. So, yeah, I don't know. Force 5 from Alderaan, man. Like, I don't want Disney, how do I put this? The Skywalker saga, I'm done with. I just am done. I'm Skywalkered out. Like, I just can't. Great movies, good at Star Wars. I'll always love Star Wars, but I am just burned out on Skywalkers. It's such a big galaxy. Could we just move on with something else? Like Thrawn and all those, bring them on. Yeah. And then I like the struggle. Rebels. Yeah. I started watching Rebels. I've never been a big animated guy anyway. I probably have some childhood issues. I don't know. But I'm going to check out this game. This sounds like it might be a fun convention game because it's like kind of packaged, right? Oh, nice. Here you go. And I will, man, if I have the ability to like manipulate the crap out of like, I know they couldn't like put in Star Wars stuff. I'll just replace it, make it a Star Wars game. All right. Let's see what else. Here, I'll just give this a link. Give them a plug. So interesting. This was on September 30th. So it's, about a week old at this point. Kickstarter's new CEO talks future of tabletop crowdfunding game found rivalry and blockchain plans. Earlier this week, Kickstarter announced the hiring of Everett Taylor as the crowdfunding company's newest CEO. I'm not even sure I was aware of that. There you go. I think we can all share that new news. I didn't know that. Right? We were talking about, this was kind of a hot button one streaming Saturday, like the blockchain and Kickstarter and people wanting to get off of that platform and use other ones. I know Monty Cook just got done with doing it on BackerKit. So his recent, I'm interested to get, if I run into Monty at Gamehole, I'm going to ask him and see if he'll answer the questions. Hey, Monty, you used backer kit for your most recent Kickstarter and it was like $400,000. Do you think you could have done more on Kickstarter? Because I'm going to guess it's not as much as his previous ones that were on Kickstarter. Anyways, Taylor takes the helm during an unsure period for Kickstarter, the shadow of a poorly received announcement in 2021. Hello, blockchain. Introduced an advisory council. Yeah, where's that at, right? Some of these things get lost. They put it out there, and then it's like American attention to deficit disorder. It's just like, boom. Right? Let's put the bad behind us, right? Move on. Which is not a bad thing, by the way, I don't think. Although, not necessarily. Both GameFound and BackerKit have pushed their chair up to the crowdfunding table in order to claim larger pieces of a financial pie that continues to grow year over year. Despite all this, Kickstarter campaigns have not slowed down, even with the tabletop industry that reacted strongly to the blockchain plans. When did they start vetting him? I don't know his background at all. I don't know where he came from. Probably should have that info. I don't know if I want to go through all this. Brandon Sanderson's Kickstarter. Your previous tenure at Artsy saw the company begin selling art NFTs on its website, and it began tracking statistics regarding blockchain adoption within the art world. You have personally advocated for NFTs and the blockchain, or at least not taken a stance against them and their proven capacity to harm artists. How much of this history do you think played into Kickstarter's decision to choose you as CEO? We did an interview with Fast Company too. Interesting. See, this is going to be something to look at because his philosophy is going to dictate the path of Kickstarter, right? My priority is our community and improving our current platform. And keep in mind, like RPGs make this thing go. Like Kickstarters, RPGs, and the funding, and like it has a big impact on Kickstarter. Like I said, I ran into that guy at GameholeCon who writes for Fortune or Forbes, and he was like, and he had been tracking this platform, and like he mentioned 80% success rate of running RPG Kickstarters, and it's like blows everything else out of the water. So you could make your cool backpack or your cool jackets or your high tech, but the success rates of RPGs far. Now, that was a few years ago, it might have changed, but they far and exceed a lot of the expectations. Victor says he's been sending out a larger number of updates and notices for The Weird. He's talking about Monty Cook. It seems like it's been more interaction than their Kickstarter projects in the past. Here at Kickstarter, my priority is the core business. For as much success Kickstarter has had, there's a lot we can improve on. My focus is there. They even mentioned, it's a good interview maybe. It has been nearly a year since Kickstarter announced its blockchain intentions, and very little concrete information has been provided in the intervening months. Should you be viewed as evidence that Kickstarter's executives still have faith in blockchain tech adoption? As I mentioned before, my focus is the core business. Our exploration of blockchain is a very small part of what we do here at Kickstarter. To be frank, we didn't communicate our intentions clearly in the beginning. We are not immediately turning Kickstarter into a blockchain or Web3 company. We just want to learn more and see how the technology can potentially, keyword potentially, helpful or useful to our community someday. I will be transparent with our community throughout my tenure here. I'm here, always ready to listen, and I want our creators and backers to know that. They're not going to be transparent, just so you know. It's not. There's too much risk in being transparent. They were gonna they teamed up with a blockchain provider. Like they were gonna build another platform based on blockchain. Like that's. Did they just screechingly halt that thing? Like they should have grilled like a follow-up question. Let me see. What do you think is the most fundamental changes that Kickstarter should make to be more sustainable? They should have followed up with, okay, but there was an announcement with this other company that this platform was moving forward. Is it still moving forward? Like, man, poke. As I mentioned, stop asking about blockchain. Yeah. Can we move on to something else? Like I said earlier, here we go. Here's some of this. You say that listening to your users has been key to the past. The vast majority of folks have commented on Kickstarter's blockchain plans, have said the company should completely divest from any research into it, given the current iteration is largely tied to financialization schemes and predatory tech practices. How then do you tell users that you are listening to them while still continuing this initiative? I believe that a lot of people's issues with Kickstarter's exploration of the blockchain are doing so with misinformation. Look, you just don't know the whole thing. Which is maybe fair. I can honestly say that it's truly not tied to financialization schemes. We are a public benefit corporation. Our goal is not to make the most profit, but to have a big impact on our mission of bringing creative projects to life. This is not some strategy to make Kickstarter a lot of money. Our focus will always be to serve our community and tackle problems within the crowdfunding ecosystem. So if what he says is true, and they are trying to make it a better experience for you and I, great. Which I gotta think that's part of the value add, right? Our goal is not to make a lot of money. Financialization schemes equal pyramid schemes. Pump a dups, man. Ponzi's, dude. Talking blockchain and not crypto. That's true. Harrigan, very good. That's true. We gotta make sure there's a difference here, folks. Right? There's a difference between blockchain and crypto. Blockchain is the technology. Crypto is the craziness that can be currency, right? Which is usually the piece, right? The crypto piece is associated with the cryptocurrency DeFi. Blockchain, the technology, can be used for good. Can be used for good. Can be. Yes. Digital rights, man. Anti-piracy. Yeah, the big ledger. Well, is crypto the Ponzi or is that NFTs? We're not here. We won't need to debate that. We don't need to debate that, but and crypto could be the Ponzi. I don't know. Is there room for crypto? I don't know. Is there a benefit? Who knows? I still think we should go back to chickens, cows, grain. Come on, let's get back to barter. Huh? Do it. Huh? If we keep going the way we are, we might end up there. I might have to go and raise some chickens, man. Get some eggs. You know? Hey, you make beer? Add a chicken. Anyways, that's an interesting interview. I'd be interested in reading more of this. I don't really want to get too tied up into it today, but nonetheless, Ponzi is not like Fonzie. One is cool, dude. Come on, Ty. Yeah, man. Fitting them chickens in my bag for a game hole. Wayne, you better bring some. You better bring something for me. Bring, what could I use? Some beef? Could use some beef. Bring some beef with you. I'll give you some chickens. Better go out and get some chickens. Raise them. Anyways. Many outside of the company see the Kickstarter Advisory Council as an appeasement that won't have any real effect on how the company makes decisions. Are you prepared to implement their advice rather than just seriously listen or some other platitude? They're poking. I mean, I think there's some good questions asked here. Might not be a bad article to read, folks. Let's see. Where am I? Thanks, Gizmodo. Print news, Icons of the Realm. I think we did this last time. Yes, we did, and I didn't delete those. Those are all the miniatures from WizKids that are coming out for D&Ds. The D's and D's. Went over the demi-plane stuff last week. I am behind, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now I think this is where we can... Just tuned in, Andy Hall. Oh, dude. Talking chickens. Going back to the barter system, Andy Hall. If you could barter anything in the world, like say if I got chickens, what would you give me? What could I use from Andy Hall? We're talking about... I don't know what we're talking about. We were on an article with an interview that somebody did with the new CEO of Kickstarter. And, of course, part of that led into their pursuit of blockchain. Uh-oh. Craig Shipman has entered the building, ladies and gentlemen. Craig Shipman of Third Floor Wars. I got to get my sounds up here on the right page. Craig Shipman, Third Floor Wars, interviewer extraordinaire, in RPG insider, if you will. Craig, I think you need to tackle the CEO of Kickstarter. Start putting the screws to him about blockchain and seeing what that's all really about. Finally, a real podcaster. Oh, shots fired, Roger French. Ow, 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 ow. Well, that's true. I don't know if I would consider myself a real podcaster. At least he's more diligent. Let's say that, right? Burn, man. Hey, Saturdays with Sean, please show up and roast me. You're right. You get scraps. I get your scraps. All right. Well, good to see you, dude. Craig, taking time out of the busy schedule to make a public sympathy appearance. Listen to Third Floor Wars, good interviews over there, folks, and live plays. He's like a freaking Twitch, like you're a Twitch king, right? Like it's like affiliate partner king, right? Isn't that king or queen? Something in there, right? I think Craig, yeah. All right. EN World, thanks to our friends at EN World for doing a lot of this legwork. All right, so print news. No news like print news. Borcubos, the Lost Isles limited edition by Legendary Games. We brought this up before. Is this old? September 28th. I thought we went over this last week. All right. We did. These are all old. I went over this last week. Did they have one for this week? Oh, shushba. I think maybe I went back too far. Yeah, man. Crowdfunding news. Maybe I clicked on the wrong... Yeah, here we go. I did. I clicked on the wrong link. All right. Venture Society role-playing game by Ninth Level Games. Core rulebook powered by Polymorph. For all you Polymorph fans out there. Mogul. Yes, Sweefer. Mogul. Affiliate partner Mogul. Twitch Mogul. Now he deleted them. Anyways. So Polymorph, Venture Society. Can you imagine every Saturday I'm getting on here talking about new printed games? Every Saturday. And there's like 5. So say okay, we'll count them, right? Here's one. Oh, it's crowdfunding. God damn it. Now, okay. Now I am messed up. Hold on a second. New digest. Where is the print stuff? Crowd print news right here. Here it is. Jeez, man. All right, here it is. Print news. Count the print, right? Because it's like they're, I don't know, man. All right, Tales from the Shadows. Cobalt Press, 5th edition. So it's funny because we'll probably go like, hey, we talked about these, like, I don't know, these are familiar, probably like 2 months ago, 6 months ago. Didn't we, when this is on the radar? Because it's probably a Kickstarter, now it's print. $40, 14 adventures, suitable for levels 1 to 8, playable separately in sequence, set in the Shadow Realm. Sites a mysterious enchantment watched over by dozens of denizens, both strange and wondrous. Pathfinder, Lost Omens, Gods and Magic. By Paizo Special Edition, $60. That's probably a sweet looking book for 60 bones. Lankmar, Treachery in Beggar City. Look at Doug's art on there. I bet you Doug, if you guys are fans of Doug Kovacs, he does a lot of the art for DCC. And if you're interested in meeting him at Gamehole, I would be more than happy to make an intro. I know Doug, and you know, I'm hoping he'll be there. He resides in Chicago, so usually he'll come up for Gamehole. What is the most popular narrative RPG? I give up, Ty. What is the most popular narrative RPG? $10 for Treachery in Beggar City, softcover adventure. It's a level 3 DCC set in Lankmar. Now, I understand Lankmar is a little bit different than core DCC. I might have to check out Lankmar. Saw Doug. You would know Doug. He's got a gray beard. He looks like a, well, and he's like this, no, you guys don't know, but he's short. He's a character. I call him Dig. What's up, Dig? It's a trick question. There isn't one. Yeah, once you know him and see him, you can't miss him. But next one, Enemy Within, The Empire Ruins, hardcover supplement, Warhammer Fantasy 4th edition. Empire of the Ruins, The Companion, and Slipcase. Warhammer Fantasy. European Castles, 2nd edition by Palladium. Soft cover. 40 notable European castles with artwork, 56 actual floor plans, a glossary of terms regarding the parts of the castle, and a cutaway of a traditional square keep and all wall ratings. Castles arranged by country, like Karlstein Castle in Czech Republic, Dover in England, Chateau de Chillon in France, Ortenburg Castle, Germany. I don't remember if I've been to Ortenburg. Ferrara Castello d'Este, Italy, Kremlin, Russia, Borthwick Castle, Scotland, Belmonte Castle, Spain, Margat Castle, Syria, and Chepstow Castle, Wales, and others. I'm surprised they didn't mention Neuschwanstein. Maybe it's in there and they just didn't mention it. Usually that's the big one. Lankmar is a great version of DCC. Thanks, great Gabe. I'll have to check it out. Like, I like DCC, but the hangups I have on it, I think are hangups other folks might too. And Lankmar, I think, probably addresses some of those. Although I'm not a Lankmar guy. Like, I have absolutely no, I think I have one of the audiobooks of Libers and just not probably my problem, right? But I'm sure I don't need to know that to play the game. I could just embrace it as for what it is. Theater Knights 5, the Silver Guard, and Theater Knights 6, the Red Choir for the Dark Eye, aka the Schwarze Augen. Chronicle cards, Universal Events deck, Universal Items deck, Universal Monster Attributes deck, Universal Personalities deck. So prior, when we were talking about VTT, AR, VR, like what happens with these? Go digital. These kinds of supplements like backstory cards and tarot cards, different pieces, chase cards, maybe. Bennies, chips, chits, stuff you lose in RPGs. I'm not a Lankmar guy either, so I've not looked into those adventures for DCC beyond those first 3 sample books they put out as they were getting into the setting. The rules change in Lankmar a little bit. I never knew that was where Lankmar was from, huh? I mean, those Liber books someday. Yeah, Fritz Leiber. Lankmar. Yep. Few books. I don't know. Gabe might actually know how many he wrote. Being the literature aficionado that he is. Don't know how many Leiber books that were put out with Fafford, the Grey Mouser. This is the RPG crowdfunding news. Right. Ian World. Check them out. Powered by Polymorph. Here we go. So crowdfunding. Fully funded. Polymorph venture. Like, okay, here's one that's funded. Boom. Check. Oh, hey, wait. So RPG print news. So look at this. Okay. So let's just say 1-5E, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll just say 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not even an RPG book, but say 6, 7, 8, 9 items produced and printed this week. And then next week, there's going to be another 9 items, 10 items, 5 items. And that's just these on Ian World. So imagine how many are being uploaded to drive-through that you could probably do on print on demand, or not even print, just PDF, just produced. Like, hey, I produced an RPG and I put it on drive-through. Go and get it. So if you're, I mean, conservatively speaking, like, is there 20 RPG products a week? 52 weeks? Like, I mean, that might even be conservative. Like, you throw an itch and it's, there is a lot of stuff, man. I don't know. Is there any other hobby that I know of, that you know of, that produces so much stuff? And I'm not talking like material, like, oh, I like to do, I don't know, macrame or something, and there's so much yarn out there. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm like talking about a hobby that ours is so unique. Is there another hobby that's similar to ours? Like, there's collectors, maybe, like, I don't know. You know, sports hobbies are different, right? Like, if Brett wants to go and become hunter guy with his bow and arrow, he's going to typically make an investment in his bow, his arrows, tips. But man, like, so part of us is buying these things and then presenting to our game group. Board games, yeah, it's similar, right? It's the same, but I don't know if board games are being cranked out like RPGs. Comics? Yeah, comics maybe, I guess. We're not sharing them with others, though. And some of us can collect comics. Comics might be like reading a novel. I don't know if this is comics like a hobby. So we're gonna like, what's a hobby? How is a hobby defined? But so if I say, what's your hobby? And you say comics. So is that collecting comics, reading comics? See, I don't know if I would consider reading comics a hobby. I guess it is, right? Like, it's something you do that for pleasure and fun. It's like reading books. Like, what's your hobby reading books? I guess, yeah, I'm starting to get into semantics, right? But group-based hobbies, collecting, reading, yeah. It's anything you do on your off time, right? That you enjoy doing. But man, the amount of stuff. I guess books, like people produce books. Like there's books, like every day, Sean, there's like millions of books hitting the market. Yeah, but there's like many more people that are probably willing to buy books, right? The book industry is bigger than RPGs. I'm just interested in that ratio. Like, if you're a big publishing house, whatever, Bantam or something, and you produce a book, what is a successful book like? Like to be successful, you're probably banking on so many people buying that. Probably don't always do that. I don't know. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Well, there's a sidetrack for you. It's crowdfunding. Until these are crowdfunding, so these will be eventually become print or PDF or something. Look at this. So going back to earlier, Kickstarter, so, you know, RPGs being successful, there's one. Beacon, another one on Kickstarter, successful. Core rulebook and original system. It's a fantasy world. You are the light. The literal beacon society looks to when the scourge attack. Using this system, you'll defend that society, shining the light where it's needed. Projects inspired by Lancer, D&D 4E, powered by the Apocalypse, Final Fantasy. What? Whew. Man, there are some people like, I love all this stuff. I wish I could just make one book that had all this. It is rare that anyone wears their love of 4E, so hats off to the creators for showing some love for 4E. Funded Spectres of Broken? Brocken. Not broken, you idiots. Brocken. I call myself the idiot, by the way. The RPG verse is really unique. Man, it is. Yeah, that is saying something for sure. Spectres of Brocken from Aaron Lime. Aaron Lime. Funded. Bam. Kickstarter. Funded. Another one funded. Core rulebook inspired by the No Dice, No Master system. Tells a specific story of the kind that we read about in Civil Wars as friends trained together in academy only to end up on opposite sides of the war. In this case, the training and war both involve mechs. And they change the dynamic as you fight your friends. The game's engine takes concepts from Avery Alder and Benjamin Rosenbaum's Dream Askew and Dream Apart. However, instead of tokens, you spend words as prompts for your character's actions. In addition, the game cites McGay and Vincent Baker's Mobile Frame Zero firebrands and Melody Watson's On Mighty Wheels as inspiration. There is a lot of inspiration. And it's funded. $10,000, cranking away. Citadel of the Undying, DCC, level 5. Funded. Like, it's Kickstarter, man. If everybody pulls all those RPGs from Kickstarter, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. I think. Maybe not a lot of trouble, but trouble. DCC Adventure Module, $13. Funded. Deadly Adventure, but the PCs will not die from it. What? Come on. Now, there you go. That's a pitch for DCC. DCC Adventure where your characters don't die. What? Instead, a necromantic curse will keep them in the game. On a holiday celebrating the dead, a solar eclipse and a curse brings the worlds of the living and the dead into contact. If you're a DCC fan, this 20-page level 5 adventure is designed for those looking for something different and dark for their DCC games. Unnatural Selections. MCC. Mutant Crawl Classics. Funded. Bam. Another one. Like, the amount doesn't even matter. Like, I'm going to put a Kickstarter up there for $500. Bam, funded. $30 is best pledge, favorite pledge, most popular pledge, word choice. 60 MCC and DCC monsters delivered in over 130 pages. Yeah, because Goodman Games isn't going to do a monster book for DCC or MCC. Its compilations are rarer than, say, 5e. Oh, wait a minute. What sets this project apart are its systems, since MCC and DCC monster compilations are rarer than, say, 5e. For sure. Yeah. I think everybody's is rarer than 5e. Besides maybe Pathfinder, the fact that pages are pre-drilled, intended for a 3-ring binder, and the project uses a static cling cover. So if you remember D&D 2e, 3-ring binders of monsters, this recalls that innovation. I don't know. As a GM, you could pull out the monsters you want to use that night, eliminating flipping through a book repeatedly. This idea ups the utility of monster manuals and is worth backing this project just for that. Gateway to Adventure Trilogy. Appendix N Entertainment, Gateway to Trilogy Old School Essentials. Funded. Need 3 OSR books with gaming options? This campaign gives you the class compendium with multiple new classes and kinships to offer to your players. Oh, there you go. Combat Conspectus gives you rules about combat styles, maneuvers. The more you change, the more you stay the same. I need a book on combat styles and maneuvers for an OSR game, but OSR, like, when does this start folding in on itself? Oh man, too funny. The irony is not lost on me. Helios, the Prophecy, a D&D 5e apocalyptic setting, and more. That word is hard for me to say. Source book. Need a system-neutral campaign setting inspired by The Witcher? Wait a minute. Why is it... What? System-neutral and Black Sun, even though it says it's 5e apocalyptic setting and more. Okay, I'm confused, but whatever. You need a system-neutral campaign setting inspired by The Witcher, Dragon Prince, Shadow and Bone, and many, many more. How about a new rule set? This RPG offers a setting and or new rules system to explore a world of 15 distinct fantasy-driven nations. At its core, Helios, the Prophecy core book, the Black Sun system, and the Adventurer book. And the next words out of my mouth? Funded. Maybe they don't list ones that aren't. That's very possible. They've listed ones that are not funded and still underway. But another one funded, man. $8,000. Side quest from Icarus Games. 5th edition source book with pounds on the monetary system. Project collects the first 12 issues worth of side quest zines in a hardcover. 7,000 pounds funded out of 5,000. Exotic equipment perks, weapon and armor options for 5e. Wow. $15 for the PDF of the book. Introducing a reason for this project campaign page calls for the core 5e weapons and armor options lackluster, referencing the limited number of options and mechanical difference between the different choices. With the exotic equipment perks, the Crit Academy looks to boost the player's options. 128% funded. Jeez, it's gonna be a good day at Kickstarter. Must be a dragon. Touched by God's role-playing game. Year Zero Engine. Oh, some love for Year Zero Engine. All right. $88 for shipping and handling for the PDF and print versions. In this fantasy RPG, you'll find a world covered in the wild, a never-ending forest. Within the wilderness, you have been given a shard of God's power. You are power, but it's causing you to lose yourself. This RPG promises a unique fantasy world and Slavic-based mythology. It is not funded. With 5 days to go. The last one on the list. Not funded. And it probably won't be, which is unfortunate. 5 days, not even halfway. Yikes. The most popular pledge is 88 bones, which gets you PDF and print versions of the core book, GM screen cards, dice, and more. Wow. So there you go. Went through print news, went through crowdfunding, talked about some other deals, Lego, leadership changes, or a leadership change at Wizards under D&D, Monty Cook, talking about the Lego back in the day, virtual versus AR. $88 plus $100 to ship to Canada. Oof, that's a tough one to chew. Yeah, man. 5e. Just do 5e games, supplements, man. Still though, that's still like even. I mean, I gotta say, like, let's take this 5e, right? This one, exotic equipment perks. It's a $5,000 goal, $5,000, and like, and it's doesn't say how big. 36 new weapon perks, 16 new armor perks. So maybe it's a page per. Campaign page is a free PDF example, by the way. How much work is going into these things? It's probably a lot of work. Then there's the cost. So if you do PDF, okay, you don't have the print cost. Man, I really need to get into these economics. Like, what does this all mean? Craig Shipman, if you are still around, dude, we need insight into all this stuff. Like, what does it cost? How many hours are they putting in? Because if you're doing it, you got to be doing it as a labor of love, right? Because like even Brett, Streets of Avalon, how many hours did he put into that? How many hours did those guys at Encoded Design do? Matt Murrow's art, and then, you know, you sell it for whatever dollars. You probably don't make much at all. Like you, in your time, you probably do it for free in the end, right? When do you break even with your labor? Anyways, I don't know, man. It's a great hobby. It's a weird hobby. Some parts of it are weird. The hobby's not weird. We have weird parts of the hobby. But good times nonetheless. When I saw Ty mention, when's the next podcast coming out? Which one? Which one are you talking about, Ty? GM Mastermind, dude, I got to get some recordings and some stuff on the books. It is, I have to say, GM Mastermind is fun. There are parts of it that I cannot stand. The meeting and talking to people and talking about a particular topic, fun. Arranging the people, not fun. I don't know. I put out the next Hex. That is with Harrigan, Wayne, Kevin, and Phil. I don't see Phil in the chat today. Harrigan's running us through Forbidden Lands. And that's first 2 episodes are out. Audio. along with a couple on video. So if you are interested in an actual play where guys are just playing kind of at the table and we're not eating a bunch of potato chips and we are not voice actors, but sometimes we pretend like we are, or maybe I do, then, but a bad one, then you'll appreciate that actual play. Actual plays are really weird. Like people find, like you have podcasting where it's like, I like this podcast because I like the subject matter. Excuse me. Thank you. I like this. You like the subject matter. You connect with the host and the audio is pretty decent. Right. But actual play, it even gets a little more pickier, right? Because you're like, can I identify with the people that are playing these characters? Can I identify with the characters? Can I understand the adventure and the plot? Does it keep me kind of engaged? Does the audio turn me off? Is there too many pauses? Do they talk enough about mechanics or not enough? Too much about the mechanics? Do they have cool music and sound effects? Like all of that stuff plays a role in AP, where people are just like, it, you know it when you hear it that you appreciate it for. Yeah, I needed a producer to do the bookings for sure. For sure. So that's how I enjoy it. I like listening to it because I'm not running it. And I think Harrigan does a fine job of running it. And it's fun. We've got a lot of content like to catch up. Like I launched episode 2. I think we probably have like 8, like 2-hour or 2.5-hour sessions. And it gets interesting. And it's the first 5 minutes are key. Like the next text we started, I didn't chop off session 0. And so there is some really longer pauses and we're just kind of sitting around like a virtual, I mean, we would be sitting at a table. It wouldn't even matter. And hashing out what we're going to play and kind of the premise of the campaign and stuff. And some of that, some people will actually love that piece and some will just absolutely hate it. So, mileage may vary. And then I launched a couple of the episodes of DG Unsanctioned for Delta Green Unsanctioned. There's purpose why I name these the way they do. Like I didn't want to put Delta Green in the freaking title and have Arc Dream go get in a hissy fit. There's DG Unsanctioned. That is me. That's true, Harrigan. It's raw. It's a real session 0 for sure. Like very little editing. I think I might have taken out some really long pauses, maybe a break or something. But for the most part, it was like record and go. DG Unsanctioned is me running Impossible Landscapes. So if you're going to play in that, probably don't want to listen to it. I listen to that to help me become a maybe better game master. Because the first one, I was like, whoa. Yeah, thanks, Victor. It will get better. It's okay. I mean, for me personally, like I'm even critiquing my own. But yeah, it's not. I was like, wow. Scrambling to understand when it's taking place, when it's like the first thing you say and you kick off. What day is it? What year, Who are you guys going to be going after? Oh, yeah. Oh, man, rough. But it is, if you like Delta Green, great. I think that's kind of it. So I got a lot of material to put out there I'd like to share with everybody. And if you're into it, great. And if, helps even us. Frankly, I want to get caught up enough so that I can listen to last week's Delta Green episode before I run the next episode so I can make sure I hit everything and carry it over properly. So if I'm not putting it out for anybody, it's for myself to just listen to and go, okay, this is what happened the last time these guys were involved. And even with Forbidden Lands, it was such a weird dynamic because we'd done that so long ago where it was like, what did we do in session 2? Oh, we got to the house on the river, but that actually was in session 1. So the description's a little off, but it's fun. And some of you might know some of us that you could find out how we roll. Anyways. Open a race to catch people floating downriver. That is not out of the realm of possibility at this point, Victor, but stay tuned. So there you go. Who's compares everything to it? And your message redacted. Yeah. I think that's it. Like, we're over than what I expected. So thanks for hanging out for as long as you have. I appreciate it. We did find the ford in the river. Is that a question? Who is that guy we battled 3 games ago? Flip. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, wait till you... There's one episode where my character has an interesting interaction with a particular monster. Let me just say that. So you'll get a kick out of it. I think for me, I think for Forbidden Lands, I think that it's only getting better, honestly. We're all feeling the group gel and what we're facing, and it's going to be better. If you start, as we say, sometimes it starts out a little slow, like a normal TV show, and then it gets better. But yeah, you guys, if you like it, great. If you don't, that's okay. That's okay. I want to thank these guys for supporting me over all this time. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much over at Patreon. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend, or whatever time you get to this point, wherever you are. Take some time to yourself, your friends, family, loved ones. Game, of course, always. And remember, be a positive force in the tabletop RPG hobby, and then we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.